Hello everyone, I'm back with a video about lines and planes. This is going to be a two-part lesson on this subject. Next video will be concerning angles, which are the result of intersecting lines. First, what I want to do is describe what's going on with lines and planes. And to do that, I've got some vocabulary here for you to look at. So what does it mean to be a line? Well, just as I've written here, a line extends in two opposite directions forever or without end. And I've drawn a couple of examples for you here and here. And there's really an infinite number of examples we could draw to accurately represent lines. Important thing to note though, especially when you're at this part of the stage, is that two or more lines, when they cross, they're going to meet at a point. And so that's important because it's not the same for all types of stuff that you would have in geometry, like a plane. So a plane, you can kind of think of it as like the flat surface of this paper. Now, it doesn't exactly meet the definition of a plane only because this piece of paper doesn't go on in every direction forever. It stops, at the edges. But in the most true sense, a plane is a flat surface that goes on in every direction forever. Now, important distinction between planes that intersect is that when they cross, they actually form a line. They no longer cross at just a single point. So two or more planes that cross are actually going to form a line. Okay, so another important concept in geometry is this idea of parallel. And really what parallel means is lines, and it could be planes as well, that never touch, they never cross, they never meet at all. Now in math there's a way to symbolize parallel, and you're going to see this a lot in geometry. So if you ever see, like say, line M, that's not an M, there we go, now it's a cursive M. Line M, and looks like you have almost like an 11 between them. That's the symbol for parallel right here. So line M maybe is parallel to line L. And that's really a compact way in geometry and math that you can describe parallel without actually writing the words out. There's a lot of things in math and geometry where people take shortcuts and they invent weird symbols, and this is another one of those times. Another thing to note is that a plane can contain a whole bunch or an infinite number of lines. Not true for a line though. A line is just a line and maybe have an infinite number of points. You could think of it that way. But yeah, so if you're asked to identify, say, if we were to do something like this, say, okay, are these lines parallel? Say I draw them like this, for example. If I'm asking you whether or not the lines are parallel, the obvious answer is no, because they cross here and they make a point when they cross. So these lines are not parallel. Now, just because two lines may not appear to cross doesn't mean that they are parallel like this. Okay, these two lines, they don't cross the way I've drawn them, even though my drawings are pretty crappy. But that's okay. These lines, I cannot call them parallel because what is going to happen is if I continued to draw them, they would eventually cross. So I cannot go ahead and say, oh, these are parallel, because they're not going to cross. I know eventually these things will cross. So these are not parallel, neither are these. Okay, something else that's also important about parallel lines is the concept of a transversal. This will be the last concept I cover in this video. So let's just say you've got a transversal. What does that mean? Well, really a transversal, this is kind of a simple concept as well. It's really just any line, could be any line, that crosses two or more parallel lines. Now, when I taught, I would actually introduce the symbol because the books will use them, and then I'll use it and say it kind of like in English so you can kind of see what it means. Transversal, any line at all that crosses two or more parallel lines. That ends up being really important in geometry because, as you'll see in the next video or in another video, you have a lot of different angle relationships that end up forming when you have a line or a couple of lines or even a group of lines cut or sliced up by a transversal. So to end this video, I want to show you what a transversal would be. So here, let's just say we've got a couple of parallel lines. Oh gosh, I cannot draw. I'm so sorry. This is really bad. You can label these lines if you want. There's a couple different ways we could do this. We could call this, say, line N and line, say, L. And these lines are parallel. I know that the way I've drawn them is terrible, but let's just say we're given, yes, these are parallel. Any transversal could be just any other line going through it like that. So here's another line. We'll call it line M. We'll stay with the cursive theme, because my writing sometimes is really bad. Anyway, so this line M is the transversal cutting these two parallel lines. And as you'll see in another video, there are a lot of other angle relationships that pop up as a result of this. Now, a transversal doesn't have to be just like this. It can look something like this as well. So you could have these parallel lines right here. And again, you would be given in the beginning of the problem, yes, these are parallel. And I could have a transversal going through here like that. That would qualify, this line right here would qualify definitely as a transversal. And you could even have more than one transversal going through here like this. So there's a lot of different ways that you could represent these two lines are parallel. They're cut by this transversal. Also, this would be another transversal that cuts into this set of parallel lines. Hope this helps. Thank you for watching.